Sheffield looks to the world through the cleanest industrial air in Europe. Gone is the gloomy legacy of early pioneer days, when atmospheric pollution was the hard price paid for the world's best cutlery and very special steels. Hand in hand with clean air legislation, the resolve of Sheffield people has reaped a rich reward, widening lost horizons, restoring former glory. The M1, backbone of Britain's motorway network, flies high over the River Don Valley, within the city boundary, just 6 minutes' drive by car. Easily accessible by road, 3 airports serve the city, and trains north, south, east and west provide ready links for people and for goods. Sheffield, a city for people. More than 500,000 live here. From the Sheffield landscape rise some of the country's most dazzling contemporary buildings. Commissioned in the 80s, the Manpower Services Commission. The University Arts Tower gives rise to a pleasant sense of excitement that illustrates how well the new and the old complement each other. Developments reflecting the city's concern for every member of the community. The industrial importance of Sheffield is easy to observe through the radio telescope at Jodrell Bank of Sheffield design. Through precision toolmaking, steel and parts for international transport on the road or in the air. Special steel production, mainspring of the mightiest industries of man. The modern Sheffield steel industry, on which the city's fame partially depends, is no accident of time or circumstance, but rather the direct consequence of an early choice of direction to develop and manufacture alloy and special steels for special uses. Steels with distinct characteristics, and a further result of that is to create a highly versatile and skillful workforce. The 2,000-strong team of Davy Lurvey continues today the policy begun over 150 years ago by just 2 Sheffield brothers, a policy of commitment and cooperation in engineering expertise. Against fierce international competition, the company has become one of Britain's major exporters in fulfilling the complete manufacture and supply function for countries shaping steel worldwide. Such international success is enjoyed by many Sheffield companies. Success measured in the world's most advanced handheld micrometer, the Moore & Wright Micro 2000, capable of fast, precise measurement of even the merest coating of oil on a human hair. The special steels industry owes much to Sheffield's oldest, most famous trade. The best cutlery in the world has been made here for centuries, and far more than just knife, fork and spoon. From the miller's Sheffield thwittle in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales has come spring knife, bowie knife, carver, machete, the surgeon's lancet and scalpel, the shaver's razor, the skater's skates, scythes and fine scissors, all this and more. Sterling silverware, made here by craftsmen since the early 18th century, its standard guarded by the oldest defence against fraud in the world, the crown, hallmark of the Sheffield Assay Office, one of just 4 in Britain. Dwellings in the lovely Gleadless Valley, just minutes from the city centre. A development which has won international acclaim for the imaginative use of space, the preservation of trees, blending with the landscape to give a hint of Mediterranean style. structures of modern society. And fine examples too of a rich architectural heritage. The chapel of the medieval abbey at Beechif has kept its restored 17th century atmosphere to this day. A toll house on the old turnpike road to Derbyshire in the west. Sport, a vital part of Sheffield life. The city boasts hundreds of football clubs and gives especially loyal patronage to three rather famous ones. Cricket was the first game played here at Bramall Lane, but in red and white, Sheffield United have played here since 1899. 43 years before that, association football was born in Sheffield, and in at the start, the world's first club, Sheffield Club 1856. Still playing well today. The excellent Hillsborough Stadium, a World Cup venue, home of Sheffield Wednesday. Since the beginning of organised football, Wednesday and United have contributed much to the international game. Those magnificent men and women on their flights of fancy typify the soaring popularity of sport of every sort, and each finds scope in Sheffield. Future historians may well be intrigued by the phenomenal growth of golf these days. The early Sheffield pioneers in 1891 could scarcely have envisaged that theirs would be the most active region, with more than 40 clubs in today's largest golf union in Britain. Squash now rivals many major sports in popularity, and the Abbeydale Sports Club's glass-backed court improves the game's appeal as a spectator sport, also enabling a wide television audience to enjoy international championships held here. Lovers of less active leisure time need not go far to enjoy the peace and seclusion of unspoiled acres of fertile soil that reaches deep within the town from the golden frame around. At Whitsuntide, the city sings in parks and public places. Marchers and singers, families and friends maintain the long-established tradition of band and song. Songs immortalizing Parry, Elgar, and other notable composers whose works encouraged this annual northern custom. 18th century English preacher John Wesley, founder of the Methodist Church, was howled down on his first evangelical mission to Sheffield. Later he had them eating out of his hands. And in 1780, here in Paradise Square, then a public meeting place, he enjoyed the sight of his largest ever weekday congregation. Buried at St. Mary's at Ecclesfield is the chaplain and secretary to Admiral Lord Nelson, one Alexander John Scott, whose daughter and granddaughter are depicted in memorial windows here. They gained international recognition through their published children's stories, which historians today regard as the precursor of children's storybooks. Another famous son of Sheffield, Sir Francis Chantry, foremost sculptor of his time, is buried at the medieval Norton Parish Church. Well dressing, an ancient tradition concerning water divinities and fertility rites, was revived in the 19th century, and in many villages of the region is still a great attraction. Sheffield shows its hand each year with one of the highlights on the recreational calendar, the three-day Sheffield Show, which in size rivals many of the country's agricultural shows and attracts an increasing number of visitors from overseas. In June each year, the Abbeydale industrial hamlet stages a craftsman's fair, when a great variety of diverse crafts are displayed for all to see. Overseas tourists and visitors to Sheffield come in thousands throughout the year to where originally scythes, hay knives and agricultural edge tools were made since 1712 to as recently as 1933. In melting holes, blister steel was converted to crucible steel, the start of high-quality steel for tool and instrument making. Crucible, a melting pot for steel, and in the Steel City, a melting pot for talent is the splendid Crucible Theatre. There's never a dull moment here, from Aeschylus to Acheborn, world snooker to local jazz. Places of convivial entertainment abound in Sheffield. There are places for lovers of all tastes, and tastes for lovers of good old English pubs. There's a singularly English practice since very early days of Lord Mayors parading, and there's certainly no willingness to break with tradition in this city. Once each June, thousands of people promote and patronize one of the most lively and enjoyable events of the year, the Sheffield Lord Mayor's Parade. There's seldom a walkover in this unique race, the annual Star Walk around the city. Sponsored by the local Star newspaper, the event gets mammoth support, as do the competitors. The race is on. The cycle of events and recreational pursuits is endless, gathering momentum from year to year. The town hall team sustains its basic training by a brisk factual line of attack in planning the city's face abroad. Ideas are discussed, designs prepared for Sheffield's stand at exhibitions and international trade fairs, wherever they may be staged. Stockholm, site of the prestigious International Technical Fair. But there's more than just prestige at stake in Sheffield's presence here. For many, often small, specialist Sheffield companies, the benefits are twofold: creating important new contacts, seeking new markets for Sheffield goods abroad, and at the same time, selfishly acquiring for Sheffield as large a piece as possible of the substantial foreign investment cake which comes to Britain each year. Hanover, the venue of Europe's largest trade fair, an inevitable showcase for Sheffield machine tools. Proud of the continuous progress of its industry, exhibitions are staged internationally and also at home. But these too attract the attention of overseas visitors, surprised at the amazing diversity of trade in the town. The city attracts tourists from all over the world. An international group arrive at Grosvenor House, a hotel 14 stories high with high standards to match. The magnificent Hallam Tower Hotel plays its part in elevating Sheffield high on Britain's Conference League. Dramatic reenactments remind the visitor of the beautiful and unfortunate woman whose life story has become one of the immortal stories of the world. A figure so familiar to students of history, fiction and legend. The first Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots. In April 1569, under the reluctant guardianship of George Talbot, 6th Earl of Shrewsbury, Mary was moved here to Wingfield Manor. There's a cruel irony in the story of the Scottish Queen who chose England as her refuge, only to spend almost a third of her obscure, mysterious life captive in the Sheffield region. Bolsover Castle, its Bailey Wall, fine 17th century keep and extensive views over Derbyshire countryside attract many visitors each year. Mounted on its Derbyshire hilltop, Hardwick Hall, more glass than wall, the most adventurous building to survive from the Elizabethan age. Begun by the tough and talented Bess, Countess of Shrewsbury, the house proclaims her dominating personality, her inventiveness amounting to genius. Clumber Park, and what was once the Royal Forest of Sherwood, home of the legendary Robin Hood. Also in the heart of Sherwood, another stately home of England, the 19th century Dukery's mansion, Thoresby Hall. And majestic in its peaceful tranquility, the beautiful Monsaldale. time has laid little hand on the perfectly preserved Haddon Hall, which reveals every stage of building from Norman times to the early 17th century. And Chatsworth House, also several times the prison of Mary Queen of Scots, the Palace of the Peak, seat of the Dukes of Devonshire, and one of England's most palatial houses, a treasure trove of fine furniture, sculpture, tapestry and paintings, and its parks and gardens with world-famous fountains and the spectacular staircase of water, the Great Cascade. Sheffield is surrounded by a host of stately homes and castles, most admirable relics of ages past. An all-embracing playground on the doorstep of a city. Sheffield looks to the world, welcomes the world to its door, and when taking on the world, is proud of its results and of its winning ways.